I work at Six Flags, and this one day, it was like a hot day, and a bunch of people were there, and we had this rule while the wave pool was on that people could sit periodically on the tables and chairs, but they couldn't stay there for too long because other people had to sit, so while they were eating or something, because there were so many people. And this one woman most people were pretty good about it, but this one woman just refused to move. So she got out like 2 tables, 8 chairs, and she just like lounged on there, took all her stuff, a book, and some coffee, and I asked her to move after about half an hour. She said she was drinking her coffee and refused to move. I explained it to her, but she didn't listen, so I waited another hour, and she did not move. Then she explained that she was reading her book, and I had enough. So she asked me to call the manager if she wanted me to move because she was not going to move. Such a Karen. I called over the manager, but he let it go because she claimed to have heart problems, and that was why she couldn't move too much. I was not about to harass someone with heart problems. Then she wanted to go on this like really big ride. She insisted on going, but I was like, no, you can't go, you have heart problems. And she was like, no, I don't. I was like, okay. Story time of how my whole life was a lie because I found out I had been adopted at a really late age, and my parents completely denied it and were furious with me because I had figured it out. By parents, I mean both my adoptive parents and my real parents. So, me and my parents have never looked too much alike. Like, you might think we are kind of, like, distant, like, relatives or something, but you would never guess that we were immediate family. Most people saw my mom and did not even recognize her to look too much like me. However, this kind of just slipped over my head because I was young at the time. I know I said I found out at a late age, but what I meant by that is that I expected to have known something like that when I was young enough to, talk and walk because I felt like I had the right to know this. So we were talking about cultures and heritage and background at school, and my friend got a DNA test and found out these little percentages of different places that she was from, and it was really cool. I decided to get one done, but the results shocked me. Though I was 80% Egyptian, my parents were not Egyptian at all. Though when I told them about the test, they unexpectedly started screaming. I got so mad.
My brother tried to flush me down the toilet. Story time. A lot of you guys already know this, but I have an older brother, and when we were younger, he was really mean to me. Not mean, but like evil, okay? So when I was a baby, I required a lot of attention, which is normal, babies require a lot of attention, but my brother did not like that at all. He was used to having all the attention, but then I came around and took it from him. So he decided that he was gonna get rid of me. So one day when my mom was giving me a bath, he had asked if he could help her. And she said yes, but I secretly think she was in on his plan. Because while they were bathing me, someone knocked on the door, so my mom left me and him in the bathroom alone to go answer the door. So I guess my brother was like, now's my chance to get rid of this little turd. So he takes me out of the bathtub. I can't talk or anything yet, so I don't know what's going on. Puts me headfirst in the toilet and starts to flush. And obviously I wasn't going down, so he took the plunger and he started to plunge me down the toilet. But before he could get me all the way down, my mom walked in and saved my life. Like, I could have drowned.
A little backstory for setup. My husband died a little bit over a year ago, and he had a substantial life insurance policy as well as successful businesses that I recently sold. My brother recently proposed to his girlfriend, and her family came over so that we could start wedding planning. At dinner, my future sister-in-law pulls out a 3-ring binder and starts handing out information packets about her wedding. She also had a page that listed all of the expenses she expected everyone to contribute to. I looked at her and said, "You expect me to contribute? That's hilarious." And I was met with a stern gaze from my brother. "Oh my god, you're serious? Yeah, that's not happening." Cue the meltdown from the bride-to-be. Her dad speaks up and says he's giving $70,000 for her to do as she pleases. I get up to leave, and she gets in my face and said it's all my fault. I have the money, so I should be willing to spend it on her because she's going to be family. I just laughed, looked at my brother, and said, "Good luck with all that," and walked out. Ever since then, my future sister-in-law has been blowing me up and calling me names and telling me how awful I am.
Story time of my abusive teacher, and yes, this gets bad. So my teacher always hated me, like, I don't know why. It always takes me a long time to grasp new concepts, and I get that that can be annoying, but he just took it to a different level. Like, he just got so mad over literally nothing. So once we had this new concept in math class that I didn't understand, and so he called on me even though I wasn't raising my hand, which a lot of teachers do, by the way. So I go up to the front of the class and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I don't know the answer." And he says, "Write the answer on the board." And I'm like, "Did you not hear me? Like, I don't know the answer." Obviously, I didn't say that. I just, let out my little timid voice, "I don't know the answer." And he was like, "Write on the board what the answer is." And he started screaming. He said, "One more time, write on the board what the answer is or you're suspended." And I knew he did not have the power to suspend me, but I was really scared. So I wrote on the board that I did not know the answer because he refused to talk to me directly. And he was like, "Okay, erase that, write that you're dumb and stupid and you don't pay attention in class." And I was like, "What?" But I had to write it or I was going to quote unquote get suspended otherwise. Yeah, so I told my mom and she was so mad and she told the principal.
I faked my death. Story time. Growing up, my older brother would never listen to our mom. Like, whatever she said, he would do the complete opposite. One day my mom had got us these basketballs and she told us to not play with them in the house. But of course, my brother did not listen. So my mom leaves us alone for like 2 seconds and my brother starts throwing his basketball around. And I'm looking at him like, what are you doing? And he's like, mind your business, little boy. And I was like, Mom told us not to play with those in the house. And I guess I was being annoying because he threw his basketball at my head. And it hits me and I fall over. And in my head, I'm like, I could do one of two things. I could tell my mom and get him in trouble. Or I could fake my death. So I pretended that I was dead. And I was sitting on the floor like... And I sat there for a long time and I really tried hard not to breathe or move. So he runs over to me and he's trying to see if I'm okay and he notices that I'm not moving. And he really thought that I had died. So he starts to cry and freak out. And then it makes me laugh. And then he beat me up. And then I started crying.
What is the most ridiculous thing you have ever been called to the principal's office for? I'll go first. When I was about 6 years old, I got called to the principal's office and I had no idea why I was there. And when I got there was a kid like just sniffling in his chair. The principal looks at me and he's like, do you know why you're here? I was like, no. He tells me to sit down and take a seat next to this kid who just won't stop sniffling. And I'm so annoyed because they called me out during recess. So I'm skipping recess for this kid, for the principal to tell me, you're in here for making unalive threats to Alex. The principal's like, Alex, do you want to tell her what you told me? Alex said that I told the principal that he was going to die. But do you know why I said that? This kid was eating his pen in class. He was eating his pen and ink was coming out of the pen and he was eating all of the ink. And I told him the ink is toxic and if he eats the ink, he will die. He told the principal that I was threatening his life because I told him to stop eating a pen. Where was the teacher? Where was the teacher that was supposed to tell him? Alex, if you're watching this, screw you. I try to help you.
My daughter Savannah is the CEO of faking illness to get out of school. So when she does not feel like being there, she will go to the nurse's office and complain to them that she is really not feeling good so that they call me and I have to go get her. Well, one day after this happens, I walk into the administrative office and everybody is really concerned because Savannah is sitting in a chair like so dramatically like, hi, Mom. And like when I saw her, I burst out laughing. I was like, oh my God, are you okay? And everybody looked at me like I was some really bad mom. Like, oh my God, why aren't you more concerned? But as we were walking out, she was walking really slow and actually didn't look good. So even I was a little concerned. I was like, oh my God, honey, are you okay? Until we got to the car when Savannah looks at me and goes, you know what, Mom? I feel better now. And I was like, Savannah, are you serious? And she's like, Mom, do you maybe want to go to Starbucks and have like a girls' day? And I was like, honey, what kind of question is that? You know I do.